Hey there. So I got out my crystal ball. I'm gonna make some predictions about what's gonna happen this summer. We're gonna talk about why I think that this summer may be a little more normal than the last two summers were. But before I do that, I wanna review a little bit about what I discussed in my last video, and I wanna define a couple more terms. So in the last video, we talked about inflation, we talked about interest rates, we talked about inventory. Today, we're gonna define recession, we're gonna talk about a correction, we're gonna talk about what I'm calling normalizing, and we're gonna talk about what happens in a typical summer season in real estate. Interest rates, we already know they're going up. I think today they actually hit over 6%. So the thing about when interest rates rise is when they rise, they take the elevator. When they fall, they take the stairs. I thought that was kind of clever. It's a good analogy, right? So when they start to rise, kind of hit you by surprise, you're like, oh my gosh, they're going up so high, right? They're not gonna stay there. They're gonna plateau at some point, and then maybe they'll come down again. But all we can say is at some point in the coming months, they're gonna hit a point and they're probably not gonna go any higher. If you're gonna wait to buy a home until interest rates come down, you have to realize that prices are still gonna be going up, and I'll explain why in a minute. Home values going up is only a problem when you're looking to buy a house, right? We get that. So when the prices are going up and the interest rates are going up, it's a little bit of a problem. However, if home prices are gonna continue to go up, then owning a home is really a gift because you benefit from that, even if your interest rate is a little bit high. So let's talk about recession, because recession is, I think, what everybody is concerned about is gonna crash the market. So the definition of a recession is a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. Nowhere in there does it say real estate. So just wanna keep that in mind. A recession does not equal a housing crisis, right? So the last 6 recessions, only 2 of them correlated to a decline in housing prices. One of them hardly even mentionable because the decrease in housing prices was less than 2%. That's not a big deal. The one that was really big, yes, we lost almost 20%. That was in 2008. That's not happening this time. Are we coming to a crash? No, we're not, because we're still suffering from a lack of supply. Demand is high, it might be coming down a little bit. Supply is still very low, and that's not gonna change. And until we balance out supply and demand, we're not gonna be in a normal market. However, we're not looking at a correction either. So if supply comes a little bit up and demand ceases a little bit, we might see a normalization. We're not gonna see a correction. A correction is defined as a 10% decline in an asset or a market. We are not going to see that. The housing market is at a turning point. We are gonna see some changes, and I believe that we're going to see more of a normal market this summer, meaning buyers may have a little more edge, sellers may lose a little bit of ground when it comes to all of the great things they've been hearing about happening in their offers. They may have to allow an appraisal, they may have to allow an inspection with the full ability for the buyer to request repairs. Those things might happen. I do think we're gonna see a little bit of a slowdown in the summer months because that's just what typically happens. And as we come into a little bit of a more normal market where we only are gonna appreciate maybe 6 or 8% instead of 10 or 20%, I think that's what's gonna happen. People are gonna focus on the things that they focus on in the summertime. They're celebrating graduations, they're going to the beach, they're taking some time off. Those people who really still need a home, or when a home comes on that they just can't wait to get to, there's still gonna be a sense of urgency. But I think overall the market's gonna normalize a little bit. And that just means that we may go from having 1 month of inventory, we've talked about absorption rate, to having 2 or 3 months of inventory. It's still a seller's market. So it's still gonna be challenging, but it's not gonna be as frustrating. That's my prediction for summer 2022.